Today we're taking a look at the Gretsch Professional Players Edition Jet, and we're going to tell you why it may be better than the Les Paul you've been lusting after. Stick around. Hey, you're watching Alamo Music TV. My name's Chris McKee.
And I'm Cooper Greenberg.
And we're here with Alamo Music in San Antonio, Texas. You can find us online at alamomusic.com. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe, turn on notifications, like our videos. If you want to support the channel, visit our spring store link below for custom swag, check out our podcast, and send Cooper some cough drops. All right? So, seriously, I mean it at the onset. People get obsessed with the Strats, the Tellys, the Les Pauls, and some really great guitars tend to get kind of caught up in the ether of it all.
Yeah.
And I happen to think that if you are looking for a Les Paul, that you have got to take a look at this. It's a Gretsch Pro Players Edition Jet. We had one in our store that initially we had gotten kind of as a trade-in. Mm-hmm. And I was like, this is an amazing guitar. Yeah. Now that we're Pro Jet or professional Gretsch dealers, it's like this is definitely in the mix. We've got to carry this guitar. The specifications, sometimes the devil's in the details, like they say. It's little things make a huge difference, and this guitar is pretty rocking.
Yeah, I realized so if you didn't see our video not too long ago about us becoming a Gretsch Professional dealer, we've wanted that for a long time. Up until this point, we've sold Electromatics and Streamliners. In those dark days, we had a video that was called The Most Underappreciated Single Cut.
Yeah.
About basically an Electromatic version of this guitar.
Yeah.
Really nice guitars. I liked them. I realized once we got in Gretsch Pro that I really like Gretsch. I don't just like Gretsch. Now I really like Gretsch.
Yeah.
Because every single one that we've gotten so far, the ones from that video, that first video, I loved the Cadillac Green, the Vintage Select one. Yeah. That was great. I loved that White Penguin. I love the Hendroff. I love the Broadcaster. In terms of a brand new Players Edition Jet, like the only ones I've played besides those trade-ins. So I realize how, so many players out there have chosen to play Gretsch because they freaking rock.
Yeah.
Yeah, this thing, and not paying attention yet to the top and how pretty the finish is and everything, just the sound and the playability and the thickness of the tone that you get out of this thing definitely rivals any Les Paul for sure, with a different flavor, but it does what you want it to do for sure.
Well, and one could argue maybe a better flavor. We'll get into that, but let's talk about, before we talk about any specs, one of the great things about the Pro Gretsch models is just the build quality. They're made in Japan. They're phenomenal. The build quality is second to none. Mm-hmm. They really do a good job with these guitars. There are a lot of brands out there. Every once in a while, you'll get something that kind of comes in, wrong or off or whatever. People have their bad days. Guitars are built on Fridays, but I've never picked up a model from Gretsch that was a Pro model and found any issue. Yeah, they're just really, really good. That being said, let's jump into the killer specs on this guitar, okay? And I want you to get your pen out because this is going to check a lot of boxes. So let's start with the body. It's a mahogany body, 1.85 inches, I believe. It's chambered, so there's a nice lightness to its weight. Flamed maple top, and oh, what a flame. This one is in the bourbon stain. There is a dark cherry stain. I tend to prefer this color. It's a little lighter. And I really like the aesthetics. And hey, who doesn't like a good bourbon from time to time? It has fantastic hardware. The V-style stop tail is very cool. BT65 Broadtron pickups, which we'll get back to. Plexi style pick guard, which is cool. The arrow knobs. Now, these are just very well done, knurled, good weight to them knobs. And the setup on this, if you're not familiar with it, is it's got independent volume controls for each pickup, a master tone, and a master volume up here that has a treble bleed. Now, in Gretsch circles, there's something about the tone. It has this big squeeze box oil in paper capacitor that's on there. And some people say, capacitors, whatever. But the tone control itself sounds really, really great. Rolls off in a nice taper and just has a certain sweetness to it. They've done some cool stuff when it comes to the neck, which I'll talk about. But first of all, ebony fingerboard with a 12-inch radius. Not rosewood, no pal ferro here. There's no Indian laurel need apply. Ebony, okay? Mahogany neck. It's not select hardwood, folks. And those are locking Goto tuners up on the headstock. That is also flamed maple, and it has the really cool vintage Gretsch logo. Yeah, that's got to be my favorite. So some cool things about the neck. It's set in deeper. This is a similar thing that's on the Nigel Hendroff signature model, where a lot of times on a classic Gretsch, particularly on those vintage select ones, what you'll see is that this fretboard tang, this tongue, basically, kind of comes up and out like a old school hollow body would. On this guitar, it's really been set lower down in the body to bring the strings and all of the hardware lower down, more comfortable, shorter heel. It's just a more comfortable playing experience. But then there's something real subtle. I wonder if you picked up on it. They do this rolled cutaway that right here, you can't see it from the front, but there is a shaping to the heel and the way that the cutaway rolls. And so it's for the player. From the front, it looks traditional and very vintage, but from the back, you definitely feel the difference from a playability standpoint.
Yeah. Really light for a,
that style
mahogany
guitar?
maple. But yeah, the most impressive thing to me about all these guitars is just how good that they sound and how easy that they play. I really just think a lot of people kind of misunderstand Gretsch a little bit. They see the Setzer and Chet Atkins, and they think about kind of what we've been showing people for a long time, which is Electromatics and Streamliners, nice entry to mid-level guitars. But when you get up to this price range where you're competing with Fender, Gibson, even some of the more boutique kind of small builders, these totally hold their own, and they have a vibe of their own. Before we play, tell me about the Broadtrons.
So Broadtrons, these are the BT65s in particular. They are not like Filtertrons. They are punchier. It's kind of like if a Filtertron and a PAF style pickup had a baby, it might be a BT65. So the Broadtron pickups have a punchier mid-range and they have more gain, but going along with the name, they are still high fidelity in a sense, kind of like a Filtertron is. So there's a bit more articulation, and there's a very wide kind of range to the pickup's response. So your strong basses and your strong highs, that's almost like very full 3D. One of the best examples is a really good PAF pickup, like a custom bucker that's unpotted, kind of has that huge, almost acoustic response. That's what these are designed to have, but with that really punchy mid-range and good gain that, it'll give you really nice clean sound, but you can really turn up the overdrive and distortion with it too.
Yeah, they, like every other electric of recent memory, we're running through the Blues Junior. EQ's right up the middle, touch reverb. Just with running straight in, it's like you can gig with that. Just bring
guitar
your guitar
into the
and
amp.
a little amp. You don't need anything else. So yeah, this thing's awesome. Take a listen.
So there you have it. Killer playability, killer tone. The description you had at the just before you played of it's the guitar into the amp and it does what you need. It reminds me a lot of something Eddie Van Halen said in an interview once, where he's like, someone, I think it was Billy Corgan, was like, "Where's your overdrive pedal?" He's like, "I don't have one." And then he tried to play his guitar and he couldn't control it. It's like, look, the first time you get a really good guitar and a good tube amp and you plug it in and it's just the guitar into the amp, you begin to understand the musicality and the rawness and the power that can come from that kind of a setup. And a guitar like this with these pickups is a pretty good combination for that.
Yeah, they're super dynamic pickups, and then with the master volume abilities, running in the middle, blending in your neck and bridge pickup, and then being able to contour that sound instead of having to contour both of the volume knobs. It is for sure player forward features.
Yeah.
With the build quality, the weight, the pickups, the controls, and the little stuff that you're talking about, just kind of player minded.
Strap locks.
Strap locks. I love the logo. I wish that was on every single Gretsch, but yeah, very cool guitar, and I think totally competes with any Les Paul that you could want.
Yeah, and going back to your earlier comment, I think a lot of people do think of Gretsch in this vein of like it's either country or rockabilly type stuff.
Yeah.
It's to me, I still hear this comment about the Telecaster. Oh, it's for country music. It's like, yeah, have you paid attention? Because Telecasters are used all over the place. Rock music, jazz. I mean,
yeah,
they're all over the place. I feel like Gretsch is kind of in a similar place. People need to understand that they're such versatile guitars. We talked about in our previous video when we started carrying the Pro line, why they've become so commonplace in like worship music is because they are very versatile guitars and that you can get a lot of articulation from them, whereas some guitars that might be a one-trick pony and be a little too muddy when you need articulation. They'll be there for all of the power, but not there when you need it to be really clean. And these do all of those things really, really well.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I think they're phenomenal. And particularly in these player editions, it's player-centric. It's player-forward, like you said. It's got all of the specifications that you might go, oh, I really like this guitar. I only wish it had. This guitar has it.
Yeah.
So
that's where it's at. Very cool. I would love one. And I'm really looking forward to more of the player edition stuff coming in, as well as Vintage Select. But I'd like to have this be a regular on the wall,
Yeah. Well, it's killer looking. It's killer playing. Really, what more could you ask for? And if you want it, it can be yours. Tell them how they can get it, Cooper.
You want to go to alamomusic.com, and you can view all the Gretsch that we have, both pro and non-pro. But you can also go on Gretsch's website and say, I really like this guitar, but I'd love to buy it from Alamo Music. And you tell us so we can start building out what we're going to carry with them and what you guys want. Very excited that we have access to all of this stuff now, and alamomusic.com is where you'll be able to purchase it from us. You can give us a call, you can chat with us, check your emails because we'll send you emails of videos and cool things when they drop in our store. And yeah, come get your Gretsch.
Very good.
There we go.
Let us know what you think about this guitar and everything else from Gretsch in the comments below. And do you agree? Is this one of the guitars maybe at the very top of the list that someone shopping for a Les Paul style instrument should have? And what else maybe should be on that list? Let us know what you thought about Cooper's playing in the demo, as you so often do. And please send him some cough drops so that he can feel better. If you're not already doing so, make sure you subscribe, turn on notifications, like our videos, and keep coming back for more. We'll see you next time.